welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be making a couple of different things basically to carry on through the week. I'm going to be doing a pot of, I would say chili, but you know, people have different ideas of what chili can be or what it should be. So I'm just going to call it a bean stew. And it'll have beans and vegetables, and then I'm also going to be roasting a small pork loin that I have. So let me show you the ingredients for the beans that I'm going to be preparing. Okay, so it's going to be relatively simple. I'm using two different types of beans. I've just finished boiling some black beans on the stove, and these were from dry beans. So basically I soaked them overnight, and then I boiled them in plenty of hot water with a jalapeno and a garlic clove, a drizzle of olive oil, and a bay leaf. And then I have some kidney beans that I'm going to use. These are from a can. I have some chopped onion, some chopped red bell pepper, as well as some chopped tomato. And I have a small squash that I was going to roast, but it's, you know, it's super small. So I'm just going to cube this and incorporate it with the beans and the vegetables. And then the spices that I'm going to use, I have a couple of bay leaf. And then in my cup, I have salt, pepper, a chili flake, garlic powder, oregano, cumin, and paprika. And then I am going to throw in a bit of tomato sauce as well, and some chipotle pepper and adobe sauce, and some chicken broth if I need it, just to kind of loosen everything up a little bit. And then for the pork roast, I didn't lay everything out to show you what I'm using, but I will show you how I prepare it before it goes into the oven. So I've gone ahead and made some incisions in the pork, and I'm just going to poke this with some sliced garlic. This clove is pretty big, so I cut it into some smaller pieces. And I've trimmed some of the fat off, but I've left some of it on since it is the loin roast. You know, I don't want this to dry out, so I'm going to leave some of it on, and I'm going to actually coat it with a bit of olive oil. Okay, so this is my olive oil. I'm just going to rub this around. I've also put some onion underneath the grate. Not quite sure if you can see, but that's also going to just kind of perfume this while it's roasting, because it will be in the oven for quite some time. And I've got some salt, pepper, and garlic powder that I'm going to rub this with liberally. And I'm going to start it in an oven that's been preheated to 325. To the bottom of my pan, along with the onion, I also put in some chicken stock because I don't want this to dry out. So I have a little bit of chicken stock. I'm also going to add some pineapple juice, and there are pineapple chunks down there as well. And then I'll be putting this in the oven. And it will take a while, but you know, that's fine. I'm just hanging out at home doing things today. So this, I will just give it time to roast slowly. Again, I'm starting it at 325, and then probably 40-45 minutes in, I will raise the temperature to 350 or 375. Okay, so I am using a delicata squash, and I'm just gonna trim the ends off. And I'm going to cut this in half. And then what I'll do, the skins are very thin, and actually I cook them with the skin sometimes, but I'm just going to go ahead and peel this off and then chop it. You can also do this with a vegetable peeler. The skins are thin enough, but cutting it in half will kind of help you have a little bit more control. I'm showing you both ways just so that you know you've got a couple of options here. And then you're going to go ahead and cut these pieces in half, because then it'll be easier to scoop out the seeds. Now, if you did not have a squash, you can go ahead and use a zucchini. However, I do have this on hand, so I just decided to use it. And then you just want to dice this up. Okay, now as far as the chipotle peppers, I am going to use an actual pepper in here, but I think they're... Pull one out. Yeah. I'm going to do one, maybe two, or like 1.5. And then I'm probably going to use a couple spoons of the sauce as well. But I'm going to start by kind of dicing these up. So I've heated a layer of olive oil on the bottom of a pan, and then once that was hot enough, I went ahead and added my onion and my squash. I am going to go ahead and add just a pinch of salt to this. Just a little note, you know, when I was cooking the black beans, I didn't put any salt in that, so, and there's a lot that's actually going to go in here. Okay, so my onion and squash have been cooking for a couple minutes. I still want this to cook down a little bit, but I want to get my spices in here. So I'm going to just add everything, actually, and this will get coated and serve as kind of like a base. And then the other thing that will happen is the spices will get toasted. This isn't going to be like this, you know, for very long, but I do just kind of want to get it started. Once this becomes fragrant, it does not take very long, I'm going to put my pepper and tomato. And then toss this around. I want the tomato to start breaking down and the pepper to get softened. Okay, so I covered this for about a minute or two just so the steam can kind of help the vegetables. And this looks good. It's smelling really good too. And so to this, I am going to put in the chipotle and the tomato sauce. Okay, so you can see my chipotle, and I did add a little bit of the sauce from that can, as well as the tomato sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Stir this around and just let this simmer before I add the beans. So I want the, I haven't put the beans yet in, but I do want this mixture to be in the pot for maybe about 8 to 10 minutes. I want that like tin can taste out of the tomato. So I do want this to simmer for quite a bit, and then I will be adding the beans in. Okay, so this has been simmering, and now would also be a good time to taste it. If you want to adjust for seasoning, you can go ahead and do that. The consistency is pretty good, so I do want to add my beans. Okay, so my kidney beans I went ahead and rinsed. And then my black beans. And I'm just going to get this all incorporated. If you need to, go ahead and add some chicken or vegetable broth, which I think I'm going to do. I always have this in the fridge just in case I need it. And then you want the beans to warm through, but honestly, this can sit on the stove for a while. The longer it simmers, the better it'll get. Put a little bit more. And I'm just going to cover this again. So here's my pork. I took it out of the oven, and I'm just going to cover this with some foil and let it rest. So I really wanted to show you this part. I've been cutting some slices of the pork after I let it rest, and it's cooked like awesome. It's not dry. I tasted a piece. So I would suggest just slice what you need and then set aside the rest for eating it later on. Okay, so I went ahead and made some rice to have on the side. So I put some rice, I put some chili down, I put a few pieces of sliced pork on top. Now, of course, I'm gonna do my garnishes. So I went ahead and cubed up some avocado, and you know, put whatever you would like on here, but I'm gonna do what I like. And then I have some cucumber, so I'm just gonna lay this in here too, as well as some jicama. And if you don't have jicama, then just get some radish, and that would be very similar in taste. I have some lime, so actually I'm gonna put some lime over my pork and then just kind of leave it on the side. And then I have some parsley and green onion that I've chopped up. So if you're wondering about the spice level of this particular dish, for me, it's not that spicy, although I can handle like mid-range items. I would say something like this would be a little too spicy for me, but this is not bad at all. Probably on a scale of 1 to 10, 4 to 5, if that. But that's also part of the reason why I serve it with, you know, cucumber and jicama and avocado. In case you find it to be a little too hot for your liking, you can always nibble on some of that. If you didn't want to do the chipotle, then you can just cut up or chop up a jalapeno and toss it in when you're sauteing your vegetables for the beans. I purposely cooked the meat and the beans separately because I'm going to use it for different purposes throughout the week. So I wanted the pork to be separate. You can easily do tacos with this, especially if you wanted to eat the pineapple and the onions that were underneath. That would be a good way to kind of use that up and just, you know, get a tortilla and put it in there. The pork turned out really good. So even if you just wanted to make the pork and maybe some salad or some vegetables on the side or pasta on the side or however, I mean, I know I've been doing kind of a lot of rice lately, but the other reason why I cook the pork and the beans separately is that sometimes you just want the option. You know, if you want the meat, you can have it. If not, you don't have to. You know, if you really wanted to, you can either chop it up after it's been cooked and then fold it in with the beans, and you know, there's your pork and beans, I guess. But separate or together, they're delicious. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this meal, and I will have a description down below, so please be sure to check that out. There was a slight secret ingredient for the beans that I did not mention in the video, so you might want to take a look at that. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.